Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my Daily Dose with Tim. Today is season 3, episode 58. We are nearing the end of season 3 at this point. As I mentioned last week, I'm going to be ending it on after episode 60 so that we can all enjoy the rest of the summer this year, and we're going to pick it back up as soon as fall hits as well. And really huge thank you to everybody who has supported season 3. And this has been very overwhelming and in a very good way, because I know season 1 and season 2, a lot of you guys really enjoyed the format, and a lot of you really just listened and watched and learned quite passively. And some of you did engage with me. However, this season by far has been the most interactive, which I really, really love, because some days just me speaking into the camera, not being able to see you in the same room, it's still really weird to me, even though I think ever since COVID lockdowns, we've gotten pretty used to it. Now, today we're going to continue on with creative financing, and more importantly, on investor cards. And so if you actually watched the episode from the previous episode, you definitely already know that by investor cards, we actually just mean credit cards. And remember, the whole idea is there are so many tools out there that have been misused. And so credit card, I feel very much is one of those tools, especially when it comes to financial means, financial tools, and financial education, or the lack of, really, at the end of the day. And so today I'm super, super excited to actually share with you one of the very active practices that I know that I'm doing, that I know many, many real estate investors are doing once they are well-versed and well-trained in different strategies and understanding how to protect and, as a result, invest their money. Because remember, when you're investing your money, we always say it's about how much in, how much out, that gives you your profit. How long, that gives you the calculations to do return on investment. And last but not least, how is your money protected? Your money is really protected first and foremost by the knowledge and experience that you have, or that you have access to. Because I always say these days now, even though these are hard assets, meaning real estate projects and real estate deals, and theoretically speaking, yes, our money is secured against the properties, which really gives us the ability to recuperate and recover any potential sideways scenarios, or when we have to recover our funds. Yes, at the same time though, before you even have to get there, really it's the knowledge to really vet not just the property itself or the collateral itself, but the overall deal. The overall deal includes the people that you actually invest your money with as well. And so again, I mean, this really comes from a lot of hard lessons that I've learned throughout the last few years as well. And once in a while, you still do end up making a bad judgment call. However, and I'm just being, flat out honest with everybody, because I'm not perfect. I don't make the perfect decisions every single turn either. And so there are still mistakes that are made along the way. However, every single mistakes, as long as you learn from them, and that's the thing, all of my mistakes, all the lessons that I've learned, I'm passing it on to my students as well. And so that hopefully everybody protects themselves just a little bit better. However, today I really want to continue on with the same topic and leverage an example that is very, very quite commonly practiced these days, at least that I can see. And so right here, I want to make sure that everybody understands exactly what I am talking about. So I'm going to share it again. I know in the previous episode, I sort of forgot to do that. So in terms of credit cards, what we're really looking for are the cards that offer balance transfers, okay? The cards that will offer balance transfers. At the same time, though, at the end of the day, remember, when it comes to credit, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. I know many of us, we've gotten so used to the motion in a good way to basically just acquire credit whenever we can, especially unsecured credits like this. And so apply for as many credit cards as you possibly can. And again, unless you already have projects on the go, I would definitely not ask you to apply for cards that will incur fees even when you're not using it. okay? Unless these are the day-to-day cards where it gives you other benefits like points, like free travels, like free merchandise, or anything that will contribute to your life, your business, or your lifestyle, okay? And so in this particular case, I want to focus on cards that offer balance transfers. So there are a lot of websites out there that you can basically take a look at. So in Canada, you can look at Borrowell. In the US, you can look at Experian, for example. There are lots of different platforms that basically do a summary of all the cards that are available and what their current offers are in terms of introductory fees, waiving the first year, and introductory rates, balance transfer, all that kind of stuff. And so what we're looking for is something like this. Remember, before I got financially educated, I was getting all these things. However, I was literally just tearing them up and throwing them away because that's the way I was taught. And then later on, once I got financially educated, I realized, oh my goodness, that was probably one of the dumbest things I could have done as somebody who's looking to gain more financial resources in life. And so I just want to really remind you that, again, remember, every tool, when you know how to use it, can be an amazing tool. When you don't know how to use it, yeah, probably best not to, because you might end up hurting yourself. However, it simply, in this case, just comes down to understanding asset versus liability, good debt versus bad debt, which we've covered throughout 3 seasons already. So I'd highly recommend and encourage you to go back and start and see with season 1, season 2, and then make your way through season 3 as well. And so on that note, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a quick whiteboarding session with you. Okay, so the way we always look at it, and the funny thing is, this is actually one of the first lessons that I also learned with one of my mentors too, is that one of the questions he asked is, have you ever noticed that it doesn't matter which country, which town you, or which city you travel to, the banks all tend to have the biggest, tallest, newest, prettiest buildings. Okay, maybe not prettiest. However, the point is all the biggest, tallest, newest buildings in any cities, any town, any city center tends to have a bank name attached to it or have a bank right in there. Why? Simply because they know the one thing that the majority of people don't know how. And this is exactly what investors are learning to do. Whether you are a real estate investor or investing in paper assets, the point is, remember, I separate real estate investing into 2 components. Investing at the end of the day is about financial education. Why? Because it's about learning how money works so you can make money work harder for you. And so when we are learning to become the best investors we can be, the easiest role model that we can look to, frankly, it's not me, it's not other accomplished investors. It's simply take a look at how the basis of how every bank operates, which is this. So investors are like banks, okay? Why? Because all we're doing here all day long is to aim to have our money work as hard as it possibly can for us. And so on the one end, we are constantly looking for deals and opportunities, okay? And on the other end, we're constantly looking for money. The way banks look for money and get money and raise funds is through offering checking accounts, savings accounts, retirement savings accounts, or whatever it is that your banks are offering you. And then on the flip end, what are the kind of deals that they park their money into? Well, they will lend it out as mortgages in credit cards or any other forms that, again, your bank offers, depending on the country that you are in. And so if you just really think about it that way, that's effectively what we're doing here as investors. Remember, money will follow good deals. And I'm hoping that the dots are now connecting, okay? Money will follow good deals, and ideally through you. And you as an investor This is where financial education really comes in, or real estate investing training really comes in if you're choosing to leverage real estate as your asset class, okay? And so in this particular case, I'm gonna basically just share with you, for example, the easiest way to look at this is my example that I'm going to be sharing with you is a flip deal, okay? However, you can lend your money against any type of strategies in any market as long as you understand how the deal is structured and how the numbers actually work and how you can actually stress test your own deal. This is not something that somebody else can do for you. Yes, even if you're working with an educated investor and a professional investor, they will present to you what they think is reasonable to share. And again, I'm not saying this because they are purposely hiding any sort of information, because remember, everybody's risk tolerance is different. And as a result, the way everybody analyzes or assesses the risk of every single deal is fundamentally going to be different too. And so, for example, let's just say that they send you a flip deal and you might go, well, you know what, some of these numbers don't make sense. I'm going to stress test it myself before I decide whether or not I want to lend you the money. The bottom line is you still need to be trained on how to analyze the deals in different strategies and in different markets, okay? Because that is ultimately your responsibility. Because the whole idea behind that is that it doesn't matter if this is your own money or somebody else's money. It's your job, your duty to protect it one way or another. I think a lot of the times people tend to forget that in the quest to grow and increase our financial resources, the first thing is still to protect it. The first thing is still to protect it, okay? And so this is why I always say that it doesn't matter if you know what it is you're doing. Sometimes even for people to get a mentor, it's not just to help them grow, it's to help them protect and even correct certain behaviors that have been applied onto their existing portfolio already. And so it's really interesting because I literally had a conversation with somebody, with an investor who's looking to get further education. And this particular investor has already done fairly well. However, again, in my opinion, and if you're watching this, you know who you are, no disrespect. And as I've made it very clear during our conversation, is the fact that they've done really well as property collectors. And there's been some education here and there. However, nothing comprehensive, and it's not a full curriculum. It's basically a bit of a patch job. And so as a result, right off the bat, it's very clear that their portfolio is not performing at the level it can be. And as what that really means is their money is not working as hard as it could be. And thus, this is where having the right mentor and a streamlined curriculum can really help with. And so once you understand this concept, what I'm going to do now is I'm also going to share with you a little bit of a worksheet right now. And it's very, very simple, very straightforward. So you should be able to see this worksheet right now. And what this really means is, let's take a look, okay? I know I basically only title this episode that says, learn how to create $400 per month in cash flow. In this particular case, and this was actually one of my deals, okay? So this was one of my deals, and this is a deal that basically that's very cookie cutting, okay? So this was a deal that I shared a long time ago, as you can see, 2018, 2019. However, literally just did one of these about 3 weeks ago as well. And so here's the thing. The scenario usually goes like this. You'll have investors who are not doing this as actively or on a professional level or even full-time level as you. However, what this really means is that they will maybe do 1, 2, or 3 flip projects on an annual basis, or maybe this is part of a BRRRR process. I don't know. Regardless, in this particular case, I'm just going to share the story with you. This was a bona fide flip project. The investors that actually got into this property, I had known them for quite a few years already. So they were doing this basically to supplement their main income sources. They never plan to walk away from their jobs because they're at the point in their life where their jobs are easy, they're not pulling overtimes, and kids are grown up. So they really just factored in real estate investing strategies to supplement their lifestyles and to really strengthen their retirement plans. And so what tend to happen is that they were able to use their own qualifications, meaning they have the down payment, they have the qualification to purchase the property, the subject property that they want to do renovations and flip on. And so as a result, usually they will not have the money to actually do the renovation process. However, it doesn't matter to them because they have access to people like me. And so in this particular case, when they came to me the very first time, I always talk about the very first deal because it's usually the most memorable, because once you start to cookie cut, then it's the same process over and over again. And that's why on my end, for training purposes, I don't usually bother updating the dates on it sometimes, even though the deal, like I said, literally just did one very much like this. The amount is a little different. The rates are a little different. However, the concept is exactly the same. And so in this case, the deal actually came to me in September that year. And so what happened was that when you are lending out money as a private lender, you are actually able to charge a fee. It could be a lender fee, it could be a processing fee, it could be an admin fee, whatever you want to call it. Okay, that's a business decision and there is no right or wrong answer there. So if you look at September, okay, lending fee, basically they needed $50,000. Okay, so they needed $50,000. So at $625 in lending fee, that basically is 1.25%. So 1.25% in lending fee. Why am I doing that? Because on the flip end, I know that I am leveraging balance transfer, and I had incurred a 1% fee as well. Okay, I had to incur a 1% fee. And so as a result, in the red area where it says lending fee as an expense, $50,000 of 1% is $500. Okay, and then also legal fees. Typically speaking, in a private lending scenario, the borrowers pay for all the legal expenses. And that basically more often than not is just a wash. So you'll see 1050 money in, 1050 money out. And starting October is when you can start to collect your monthly interest. Okay, so in this particular case, my annual rate is 15%. So it's not big. That's because there was already an ongoing working relationship. We're not strangers. They've built a track record with me, so I trust them. And then on the other side, I was also debt servicing interest at $51 a month. And so if you cookie cut it, okay, before you cookie cut it, let's go back to September. Net incomes, aka cash flow in this case. September, when we first jump into it, there's a difference of 125 net positive. So that's a positive cash flow of 125 when we get into this deal. October, right away, you are at 574. And then you keep going. November, 576, December, 574, and then January, February, March, and April. And in all transparency, this was supposed to be a 4 months deal. However, because over the winter time, market did slow down, and so they didn't successfully sell and close until April. Okay, and this is why you see it went all the way for about 7 months here. And if you add it all up, and I know for a lot of people, this may not be life-changing yet. However, I know for the majority of people, you can start to see how your life can be different, because even though the numbers are small, if you add it all up, it's a net positive income of $4,027. $4,027. And it spans over 7 months. So when you take 4027 and you divide it by 7 months, that's exactly how you get the average cash flow per month of $575. And this is why I'm always a very big fan, even though, I really kind of crap on the whole buy, rent, and pray concept. My whole point, really, just to make it painfully clear again, is that I discourage people from doing buy, rent, and pray when they don't got their bases covered. When you have your bases covered, meaning you've been able to declare financial freedom, meaning you've got enough passive income coming in so that you don't have to worry about covering your bases, and you want to take a little bit more risks and you want to do the buy, rent, and pray thing, go for it. Because I know you're not going to worry about not being able to put food on the table, not being able to support and provide for your family. And so even though this is not big numbers, for many, many families, when they're first starting out, even just doing something like this and doing something like this multiple times can start to make a difference, okay? If one deal is creating an average of $575 a month, if you can do it 5 times, okay? $575 times 5, that's an additional $2,875 a month. And I know for many people, that's a mortgage payment. That's mortgage plus property taxes. That is car payment. That is kids' tuition plus soccer, after school curriculum activities, cell phone bills covered, or groceries these days, okay? Whatever the case may be, I'm a big fan of making sure that your day-to-day is well taken care of, and then you can shoot for the stars, shoot for the moon, and do the bigger projects that you want. And so I know at this point, so many people are going to challenge me and say, hang on a second, Tim, if you've got the money, if you're claiming to be so successful, why did you have to borrow $50,000? Well, here is the question back to you, okay? What do you think my return on investment is if I used all cash from my own resources? The honest truth is, yes, I have the cash. I do have the cash, and I have the cash right there. However, why do I choose to actually still borrow? Well, first of all, if I actually used my own money, my return on investment is my 15% plus the 1.25 lender fee, okay? However, in this particular case, when I decide to leverage other people's money, and in this case, other people's money is my unsecured credit, my return on investment is infinite. Okay, so my personal business decision is that even if I have the funds, I will still leverage first in case they are delayed and I need to pay my unsecured credit back first. I still have the funds to cover that. And to add on to that, whether or not you have the funds, because you may not, and that's okay. This is the suggestion that I always give to my students. If this is one of the approaches that you want to take when it comes to creative financing, I would like to make sure that you at least always have more than double of what you need. So what I mean by that, using this example, is that if you're lending out $50,000 using your credit lines, I would suggest that you at least have a total credit line available to you of more than $100,000. Okay, so that's 50,000 times 2 and more than that. Okay, and so that is how you get to at least protect yourselves. And this is why we always encourage people to open up as many credit cards and credit lines as you possibly can. Okay, you may not know when there's a great opportunity in front of you and you don't have the funds to jump in or access to funds. Remember, when it comes to credit, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Way too many people let the old school thinking and let the teaching that they've picked up from people who are not financially ahead or financially successful, or better yet, financially intelligent, tell them what to do and how to do with their credit. So I'm really hoping that this gave you a little bit of an aha moment. And if you want more resources, if you want to access the spreadsheet, make sure you reach out to me by commenting on this episode, or better yet, speak to a strategy coach on the Trust Your Talent team. We're more than happy to guide you through any sort of questions you have and provide you with the tools that you need. However, more importantly, before we give you the tools, we really want to make sure that you use the tools properly. So with that said, I'm going to invite all of you one more time to the webinar that is coming up this Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, and 8 a.m. Pacific Time on how to maximize your deal profit during a renovation. I've got a special guest coming on, and I'm super, super excited for him to share because he's a real estate investor himself who runs a very, very successful and streamlined renovation business that helps other investors as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Like it, comment on it, give me some feedback. I've been really enjoying all the feedback you've given me. Most of you have been very, very nice just to say that you've enjoyed it. It was great. You're taking a lot of value away. I will love it for you to suggest topics, which I know some of you have been as well. However, like I said, this is only season 3. I'm going to be coming back in the next season, and I'm going to keep the same format so that everybody is getting what they are looking for, because that's really all I want to do. And I know, as I mentioned, so many people have said this is basically free group mentoring for you. And it doesn't matter what you want to call it. I just enjoy sharing as much as I possibly can. And if for nothing else, help you get ahead financially in any way I possibly can, so that your life can be a lot easier with the resources that you're looking to gain. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I will be back here at the next episode, continuing on with creative financing. Live well, everybody.